Adophonative for ye Bobby be a Badoba for 1 GH. A year in Insenne, and a year Ablekuma no free run Cosono, and then a chance and a pay. I just a life coverage kakaka and Nico Kucha. And they are sending more to say, a person Munina made them bushy. Na they say no, he was some air pulling a center beer, just a year Pentecost church. Now, right now, is speaking on some a year. Near maybe see or am I saying no first not or no me some a coalition or any coalition center near that they were but say no or more a church on I block and say new can some meeting or me coalition or because of what happened a year 2024 in the near my question in the almost someone vote I was sent a premises on but not inside the church and I think so and dear police for Panso as around to maintain peace or to avoid any violence via coming video no eba near them commercial at was.
The main entrance to the church remains locked. The only access given to East officials here is the very big compound where I'm currently stationed, where voting will happen. And they are urging that if you vote right after voting, in order not to repeat, the mistakes of the past with regards to the coalition violence or chaos that ensued, they are urging party supporters and voters to kindly exit the church premise after voting so that when it's time for counting, they can come back, witness it again, and everything is done in a very peaceful manner. So here will not act or serve as a coalition center. As I'm speaking to you, I've seen a couple more police patrols, make their way here. They just come, they stare at the gate, they observe what's happening, and they move on. And we've seen a lot of them in the constituency since about 5 a.m. where I've been here. Some party people currently are outside, still mobilizing people, speaking to people, urging them to come and vote. And that is what is happening currently. Nana, I think the presiding officer has a message. Yes, so what's your concern? Okay. Okay, so Nana, so right. We are being addressed by the presiding officer right now. She wants to engage the media and run us through some of the numbers. Can you run through the numbers for us available today? Okay.
One. We have 2 polling stations here, but today we've been assigned to 1. And the code for that polling station is C161012A. C161012A. And here we have 464 registered voters. 464 registered voters. And we're given 475 ballot papers. So that's all. Thank you.
So far, so good. The process has been smooth.
So far, everything is ongoing smoothly.
How many people have been able to vote as we speak?
It is, what's the time now? 7:23, and we have 11 people so far.
11 people so far. Wow. 2024, I want to believe you weren't stationed here. Interesting. But as we speak so far, we know that the church initially had some concerns about the use of this place as a voting center. I want to believe all of that has been resolved, for which reason voting is ongoing smoothly now.
Yes, it has been resolved.
Are you able to tell us what their concerns were?
No.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Jude,
thank you for your time. Please,
before you go, kindly ask the presiding officer. She made mention of 464 registered voters, but the ballot papers are 475 ballot papers. Why that though?
We are being told that you have excess, ballot papers here. Is it because what's the reason? Are you presupposing that there may be spoiled ballot for reason people would want to?
It's always done that way.
So it's standard practice that you have
yes.
ballot papers done.
Yes, even when you do the mathematics, it's not that more. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so Philip, we are being told that the reason for the excess ballot paper is because it's standard practice, and also because what's that? So can you just run the number again?
The figures I said we have 464, and then we're given 475. So when you do the math, I think how many?
A difference of about
9. Yes.
All right. So, Philip, we are being told that it's standard practice. It's not really, something out of the blue. Also, because they envisage that there may be instances where somebody may solve the ballot for which reason they may request another ballot. So the excess 9 is normal. So I earlier reported that we were expecting 462 voters, but that number has been revised according to the presiding officer. It's now 464. Yes, and hopefully they all vote. So far, about 11 have voted. Some additional 3 are in the queue to also vote. So it's been a smooth process. It's been a relatively smooth process, Nana.
I'm not sure you are able to answer this, but let me just throw it in there. She mentioned that she was not at the polling station during the 2024 general elections. Could it be that following what's happened, the EC has decided to change officers for this particular exercise?
I mean, Nana, I think the EC are trying to maximize resources as much as possible so as to ensure a smooth process. So if you listen to her or you heard her correctly, she mentioned that initially in the 2024 election there were two polling centers here in the church, but for this particular rerun it's been reduced to 1. So I'm sure some other people or other resources have been employed in different ways so as to maximize the use of it and also to ensure a smooth process. So she wasn't here for 2024, obviously stationed in a different part of the constituency, but due to the very peculiar nature of this elections are here, they've gone through the verification process and everything seems to be in place. Everything seems smooth. Some police officers are on the building, monitoring the situation. Hopefully nothing untoward happens here.
Right, very well. Now, aside the 2 main parties contesting the election, there are also other interested parties, other groupings, including CSOs, election observers, and the likes. Have you been able to identify any such groups or individuals representing any of these groups?
Now, during the process where the EC or the EC's presiding officer called all stakeholders to witness the process where the seals were broken on election materials, we witnessed that some persons who describe themselves as election observers were here. They didn't mention which organization they belong to, but I think one of them had the necessary identification to prove that indeed he was an election observer. So quite a number of them are here. I'm unable to, as at now, exactly state which of the organizations they are observing on behalf of, but I can tell you that indeed there are some election observers here who are monitoring the process and are following events unfolding here very keenly.
Right. So the process is ongoing. The unsealing done. A few of the voters haven't gone through the process already. Now, I want to take you back a bit because ordinarily on election day, starting even at dawn, some people using stones as symbols for their presence and all that. Did we witness any such a thing? And I'm asking this so you're able to speak to the enthusiasm regarding this particular rerun.
It's interesting, and you mentioned stones, and there are a lot of them here, but I didn't see any of them in the queue.
Right.
Maybe because if you look at the numbers expected, here today, in total, about 462 persons are expected to vote at this particular polling center. The total in the constituency, just in excess of about 6,000. So it doesn't give the impression that there will be a lot of pressure, at these polling centers. So we didn't see that. In fact, all the 10 people who I spoke to at the start of this co-op all voted. Some new voters are walking in right now, hoping to also cast their ballot. So it's been a very smooth process. It's been also very calm, I must say, and so far so good. Nana. We didn't see any stones in the queues.
In the queues. Very well, dude. Now, I mean, back to the earlier concern regarding the church and the distraction of its furniture and all that, and the concerns raised, I mean, limiting access to the facility for the exercise. The church previously, the auditorium had served as a collation center. Do we know if same is going to happen today?
Nana, I can also report that for today's rerun, the St. Peter Society Methodist Church is not going to serve as a collation center. According to the EC, all of the collation process will take place at the regional office here in Accra. The main auditorium inside the church, when we got here, was locked under key. In the 2024 election, we were told that the church opened its doors. Persons worked there, EC officials who were tired could use the auditorium as a resting point, but none of that is going to happen to the election or this rerun. She's been brought here as presiding officer to oversee the process, Nana.
Very well, Jude. Thank you so much. We'll come back to you as and when there's more activity at the polling station or even within the area where you're covering for us. Thank you so much. Jude Mensah Duncan there.
The Odoko Divisional Station is also a polling station. Roman Catholic Church, Buzia Junction, Odoko, and also Bethel Baptist Church, Sakaman 1 is also a polling station. So all these polling stations are where the election is currently ongoing. We'll be visiting other places as well and bring you all the updates there. Now, mind you, 262 polling stations are already done. Out of the 281 polling stations. That was in the 2024 election. So what we are looking out for now is the 19 polling stations. And from the data we have is that 6,839 voters are expected to cast their ballot today. But we'll be looking at the figures that will be rolling out as and when the day unfolds. But another big issue is that because today happens to be a Friday, looks like it's quite encouraging with the turnout I'm seeing at where Jude is now. Because ordinarily one would think that since it's a rerun, the interest wouldn't be that there. But it looks like we are seeing the numbers coming. Maybe we'll be following up and see what is going to happen during the day. Again, the security, you know, the Electoral Commission has stated that security will be intensified because this, so to speak, is not like a flashpoint. Let me put it that way, because this has happened in 2024 and there is a rerun and the stakes are high.
Yeah, indeed.
The NPP wants to retain the seat and also the NDC wants to snatch the seat.
Exactly. And
so
it's quite interesting.
It's just quite interesting. We're just looking at how that is going to unfold in this election. Very interesting place to also look at.
And then, of course, I mean, if you look at the history of the area, since 1992, I think the NDC has only won the seat once.
So far, so good. We haven't heard any violence at some of the polling stations and polling centers. Now, I think so. We haven't even heard of a misunderstanding and maybe a bit of a year to trust and we have a polling centers. Now, and then there's easy and Casamone upon home say or making sure say be able to smoothly. First and some of the election materials nibino imagery, but yes, a poor basis pepe on materials nina drew amazizeno various polling centers and various police stations no ya de onye na yeden enya omayi na I say no enche about on the kwamboy the ever shase but at this polling centers no there be a report from a St. Peter's Church no the nipa be 11 and I the custom voter any December because we be and like a home touch maybe so they expecting 464 voters to vote at that polling center. Just and also so heading of my report in a presiding officer no yet is a presiding officer so heading a casa concerning about a year the reason why the EC no Emma the presiding officer no 475 a year ballot papers ni because of say in case of say would be a mistake and I say or no one can say by mistake ni be as say near or voter and I say then he or she can come for another ballot paper. And not because of say they wanted to rig the election to other political parties. No, but they are doing all these things to to avoid any misunderstandings in case saying come fix for for ballot papers in case akasakasa BC because say now so out of he or she has the right to come to the presiding officer for another ballot paper to cast his or her vote. But what we encountered during the process, they say, Pentecostal church, they can say they are blocking the AEC or the polling centers as a polling station more addressing as a coalition center. No? They are blocking the presiding officer from doing a coalition at the church, because of what happened 2024 in Tinomede or Moyes and Mary at the Enyas and Gotua. Now, so far, police was riding a gather to protect the process, to prevent any violence which will erupt there. And I say, a year in your be a report live from one of the polling center artists, and near Church of Pentecost. I won't say me brave to share our comments, a bit so I share more down for seeing me. I have one Akroma.